how would you go about finding a property manager if you wanted to go out and utilize one?
So how many maintenance guys do you have? How many leasing agents are a part of your team? Those are definitely two of the biggest kind of roles within a management company when it pertains to an owner is how fast can you get to my stuff, my repairs, my tenant's repairs?
Sure.
And how much time can you dedicate towards when a property goes vacant to get that thing churned and get a new tenant in there? So
What's up?
hello everyone.
Here we are.
What is this, episode
289, I think.
Dude, it's been so many.
We're getting up there.
The journey, I still have a tough time. What's your name again?
Yeah, Esteban.
You have a tough time.
I had to think about that one for a second. You know, you don't name yourself every day.
We're coming out hot with the hard-hitting questions.
Hey, here we go.
Take a step back.
God, can't wait till lightning round, huh? Oh, man. Okay.
Cool, but I think your name is
Yeah. What's your favorite cereal?
I don't care. My name is Mr. Mark.
Oh, okay. All right.
S'more cereal, by the way, by Post cereal with s'mores.
Tells you a lot about a man.
Yeah. What's yours, bud? Fruits, probably from Fruity. I'm sure.
Football. Have to go Lucky Charms. Yeah, I think so.
Marshmallows are good.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, really. But I mean, how you eat a candy for breakfast basically and call it cereal and call it a good time. So
What is it with America and eating dessert for breakfast like donuts?
yeah,
It makes no sense.
somehow we've legitimized it to say, yeah, hey, it's breakfast. Yeah.
How about you tell everybody what your favorite breakfast is?
Hey, why not eat a dozen of them? You know, really get after it. Hey,
What's your favorite breakfast?
oof, man, I'm on a smoothie kick.
No,
honestly.
no, that's not.
Oh, well, yeah, that's pretty good. I like it.
Your favorite?
Yeah.
Lots, bagels and lots.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that is good. Yeah. Hey, you know, and you say you don't know me.
The breakfast.
Come on. You say you don't know me.
When I first learned about you,
Yeah.
learn something every day.
I know. You were disgusted at the fact that I eat fish for breakfast.
It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's okay though.
What about you? Your favorite?
Biscuits and gravy
Biscuits and gravy.
with a runny egg on top, over easy egg.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow. Okay. Is that the Nebraska
Chicken breast egg.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nebraska special?
Nebraska, you eat some fatty breakfasts for sure.
What's that thing called in Nebraska that you were talking about, the breakfast food?
Etherneats?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in another episode.
Oh,
We'll do an entire episode on it.
Oh, hey, stay tuned. Hey, you're going to like this one. Wow.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, we got an exciting one today, talking about third-party management,
Yeah.
what that means, how to find them, trials and tribulations, when to use them, when we use them, when we don't use them, maybe some of the horror stories as well. So I think might as well dive in.
Yeah.
You want to start us off? What is third-party management?
Yeah, so it's finding a company to help manage your rentals, whether that's a single family, multifamily, whatever it is. It's a third-party company. That's all I can't say it's all they do. Sometimes they'll do sales, but they'll help you manage your property. They'll help you get tenants in there. They'll help you do unit churns when somebody moves out, cleaning the place up, doing fix-up, things like that.
Yeah.
They'll help with renewals, kind of a multitude of things, so that way you can invest in the property and, in theory, which we'll dive into, be hands-off after you purchase it and just collect checks. That's what some people like to say, like to pretend.
Yeah. Hey, I like that idea. You know, hey, just sit back, collect checks, hang out,
Yeah.
have a few cocktails, drink at the beach. There we go.
And that's why people think real estate can be super sexy. You just buy property, give to a third-party management company, and sit back and collect.
Okay.
Is that true though?
My experience, frick no. Frick no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe let's kind of dive into some of my experiences with third party. We've had similar managers together, had different ones along the way, but you know, just in general, some of the challenges that we've faced, in particular myself, has just been that they don't love your property like you do. I think that's, you know, number one challenge. With that, you end up with people that just kind of a low barrier of entry within property management space. Somebody could just stand up a new property management business, you don't really need a lot of certification. You don't need really all of this background schooling, all of these things.
It's a real estate license, but let's be honest, it's to get a real estate license isn't tough.
Yeah, you pass a test and there we go, right?
There you go. Yeah.
So I think with that, it potentially brings in a lot of people that you end up with a lot of non-responsiveness that I've experienced, or just not answering emails, calls, follow-ups, which then you think about, how are they handling your property? How are you handling your tenants that are asking for things that, hey, I need this fixed, or managing the property in general. So I think that's one of the challenges. And then just, overall finding property that you can increase the rents on as well. So understanding the market and supporting that. I know when you were talking about when you took things in-house, all of a sudden you're realizing, oh man, that my properties were significantly under rented.
Yeah, it was it's pretty interesting, eye-opening to say the least, to see how things were being handled. Because again, like you, for me as well, start off with third-party management, and then a lot of benefits that we'll continue to talk about, definitely some things to watch out for. But yeah, you summed it up good. When nobody cares about your shit as much as you do. That's your baby.
Yeah.
It's not their baby. They don't care that much. Well, they care to a certain extent, but they don't care like you do, for sure.
Yeah. So maybe we'll start out with benefits of utilizing property management. What have you seen? When do you use third party? Because we do still utilize third party from time to time.
Good question. So yeah, definite benefits is it can be somewhat turnkey working with a management company in regards to they have the systems and processes in place. They have the staff in place to help facilitate repairs, maintenance, unit churns, things like that. They have leasing agents to help get properties leased up. So it's a turnkey solution. You find a management company and you sign up with them, and then things from there are somewhat handled versus doing self-management where you're on your own. It's either you're the one that is leasing up the properties, you're the one that's going there to do maintenance requests, you're the one that is doing all the fix up and everything. Can be a lot of time. Or if you want to outsource it, finding a handyman that is available 24/7 in theory, and or other vendors that can help service that property when needed, when you get maintenance request. And same thing with unit churns, is finding a crew that can help out with churns. It takes a lot of effort to find somebody that's worthwhile to work with. We've both kind of been through shitty contractors, which kind of like management, the bar is set pretty low to get into. So yeah, it can be challenging. So bringing a management company from the get-go can definitely speed things up for someone, for sure.
Yeah,
when they're first rental or second, third round, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And going into a different market, for instance, you're out of state, you don't have access to the building, you can't just drive over to it. You need some level of boots on the ground. So there's, some value there. And that's where we've tended to find some success of on-site property managers for some of the bigger multifamily units that we utilize today. We talked about Mary Lou in our Fort Madison place.
Love you, Mary Lou.
We love you. And she's been wonderful. I mean, she runs that place like it's her own, and she's out there vacuuming the halls,
putting air fresheners in the hallway, decorating in the Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day.
100%.
She loves it.
So, combining that, what we've seen with, her on-site and boots on the ground efforts, along with our back-end processes, has been beneficial for us.
Yeah.
So how would you go about finding a property manager if you wanted to go out and utilize one?
Yeah, good question. So definitely some of the things I've learned to ask is, one, how many properties do they manage? Do they manage 20, 30 properties, or do they manage thousands of properties?
Yeah.
And what does their staff look like? So if they manage, let's say, it's not uncommon for a management company to manage 1,000, 2,000 units between single family and multifamily. So when you're managing that many units, obviously you need a lot of manpower to facilitate that business model. So kind of depending on how many units they're actually managing, the next question is, okay, what does your staff look like? How many full-time maintenance guys do you have? Because there's definitely a difference between having full-time people in-house versus having to subcontract stuff out. So how many maintenance guys do you have? How many leasing agents are a part of your team? Those are definitely two of the biggest kind of roles within a management company when it pertains to an owner is how fast can you get to my stuff, my repairs, my tenants repairs?
Sure.
And how much time can you dedicate towards when a property goes vacant to get that thing churned and get a new tenant in there? So I say one of the main questions up front is how many units you manage, and then what your staff kind of looks like.
Gotcha.
What do you think is another good question?
I think type of properties they manage as well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that there are individuals that are specialized or even just have the capability to manage a Class B, Class C, that it's going to be rougher tenants. You're going to have to really do some work, be boots on the ground, not be scared of some of the challenges that are associated with some of those buildings and tenants and things like that to be able to even turn the unit, get it to a place that you want it to be in. I think that's a big catalyst, big key point. If you have somebody that's really only done luxury rentals, for instance, or even just been in the same space, maybe they're doing industrial or single family, they've never done multifamily, probably not the right fit for you. So, really making sure that the match is your building to what they have background with, and then capacity to go out and manage it. And they're going to care. They're going to go and make sure your building is doing what you want it to do and getting the tenants in there that you want them to. Absolutely. And your building's getting taken care of. And the tenants are getting taken care of. That's a big one as well, right?
But retention of tenants is one big thing with having rental properties is turnover on units. Retention of tenants is huge. I never realized it until got really deep into it, is that keeping a tenant in a property can have a huge effect on your bottom line versus having tenants move out every 12 months, or even tenants that break their lease before that. But you can really get crushed when you have rental properties if you have a lot of turnover. So what you mentioned, retention of tenants and properties is huge, which goes back to taking care of them. When they have a maintenance request, get on top of that thing right away and kind of going above and beyond a little bit to make sure it's only not repaired, but long-term wise that it's taken care of, so you're not continuously going back to take care of the same thing over and over. Yeah,
absolutely. Kind of that deferred maintenance piece of it, just making sure that the property is maintained. And then even kind of the civil and ethical piece of it for us, right? There's far too many times we've walked into buildings, current management that just doesn't reply to people, doesn't get back to them. There's mold growing in their building and they've complained about it. There's bugs. And you look at that. These aren't our buildings, by the way, but
buildings we've bought them.
We've bought buildings like that. Yeah,
it's buying one right now.
Yeah, 100%. And you look at this, and the tenants have been complaining, and it's like they just want a place that's clean and doesn't have mold in it, doesn't have bugs, and they're not asking for much. And it's not right to sit there and say, "Hey, we're just not going to go fix it."
Yeah. Just be a good human, right?
Be a good human.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
You learned that in kindergarten.
Oh my God.
Be good to other people.
100%.
Yeah, it's so tough though for some companies though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. It's, kind of, you always have you have, it's a business, you have that business mindset, but it's, social and ethical responsibilities as well. This is somebody's livelihood. This is their house. This is their family. It's something that we get worked up about, especially when we tour buildings and we hear from these tenants that we're, buying the place and they're so happy and appreciative when we turn things around for them. Like, man, you just got to our maintenance requests immediately. And it's just so wonderful. Like,
that's our job.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. This is important to us too. It really is though.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you typically see if you're going to utilize a third party management for fees? What does that look like? Fee structure, cost?
Yeah, so a lot of different business models out there when it comes to management for sure. There's some where they just charge a straight up percentage of gross rents that are in, where they'll charge 8, 9, 10% of the gross rents coming in. Others do a hybrid. I call it hybrid, but they'll do that same charge of gross rents, and then they also have fees on a leasing fee per se, where you have a vacant unit, they lease it up. Let's say it rents for $1,000 a month. They sign a 12-month lease. That's $12,000 they're paying over that lease.
Yeah.
They'll charge you a percentage of the lease that's signed, whether that's a flat fee or a percentage of that. There's renewal fees that they charge, technology fees.
Yeah.
Their
Maintenance ones?
maintenance fee.
Yeah.
They definitely make an override on maintenance.
Yeah.
Which is interesting aspect.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to taking care of a tenant, the comment I made a few minutes ago about putting a Band-Aid on something or actually taking care of fixing something. So does a management company, because they're making an override on maintenance, do they have an incentive to go in and fix something the right way? Or is there kind of more of a benefit for them to go in, Band-Aid that thing, have it be fixed, but knowing that, hey, that's not a permanent fix.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to go back and keep taking care of this thing. The maintenance part of third-party management, I think, is where there's a big pitfall, a big hole that they can take advantage of you on. Not that they can take advantage of you, but can definitely be a revenue source for them for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And every little ticket item, things like that, it's easy to sort of slip things under. Maybe it's an honest view of it. Maybe that there's a purposeful action behind it of why they're providing a cost that high that maybe you're not in the state, you can't go and see. So just be wary of that it's not all people are created equal and not all people are honest. So
I know if you experienced that for sure when you bought your first rental and you had a third-party management company and you would see some of the monthly statements come over, which again, they'll send you monthly statements to let you know, here's a rental received, here's our expenses, here's our fees, here's kind of what went into your account, what you netted. But I remember you making comments to me on some of your first rentals is like, these guys charge me for this. I'm like, what's this charge? And at that time you had a couple rentals and they took money from this rental that you made and put it to this rental and just really convoluted things and made things like hard for you to really follow how one property was really performing. Cause they had a bunch of these fees that you didn't understand and some of the charges didn't seem in line with what was done. Yeah.
And hard to just go and physically be there and check in and say, that makes sense, or no, that doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, question to you, maybe one or two biggest horror stories for you with property management, external property management.
Oh man, one or two.
Yeah. How long we got on this thing, man? Yeah.
I think one that you mentioned earlier was when we had a third-party management company that was managing a pretty good chunk of my portfolio and just wasn't happy with it. After a while, to really scale up, you need to bring management in-house. Like you said, nobody takes care of your shit like you do. Nobody cares about your stuff like you do.
Yeah.
Was a realization of how under-rented some of these properties were. They definitely have an incentive, and so do we as landlords, of wanting to get properties rented out quickly.
Sure. Yeah.
And vacancies will crush you for sure. But
yeah.
At the same time, it's one of those things to where I'm willing to try to get market rents and maybe have my property stay on the market for an additional week or two to get that $1,200 versus putting it at $900 to get 100 applicants the first day, get that thing rented. So an eye-opening thing to me was how severely under-rented my properties were. And then once I took them in-house, had to get a lot of shit sorted out during that time. But within 6-7 months is when we started sending out rent increase letters, and sent out a bunch. And out of the ones we sent out, we maybe got pushed back on 3 or 4 from tenants. The other tenants all realized, I don't know if they realized at that time or when we sent it out, they went and then searched for other rentals and realized, I'm getting a smoking deal in this place. Yeah. Their increase in rents it's reasonable. I like this house. So yeah, for me, that was a huge thing, was just how under rent properties were for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? I mean, I know there's a few recent ones for sure.
Oh man. One of the biggest shocks to me, yeah, I guess this was the biggest horror story, was I came out, I was visiting you and touring our properties in Omaha a couple years ago, and also went to my buildings, my single family houses out there, and no, nothing had been brought up, no concerns, thinking I'm going to walk in, and I told them, hey, I want this teed up, that I'd like to tour the two buildings I haven't been in a bit. Oh yeah, sounds great, cool. I get in, building one had been, I think the tenant had been kicked out. And then in that time period, they claimed at least that that the tenant had come back. Like they had said that, when he left, it wasn't so bad. But when I walked in, everything was trashed.
Wait,
the guy had
in the corner
apparent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Lusky's in my house.
Yeah.
And we walked into that house, and supposedly somebody had broken back in. But there was, I think they had, no, not I think, they had started a fire in the living room. You remember that? Yeah. There was all these just ashes and burnt all over the oak floor. And that was upon entry. I look around and I'm looking at the property managers like, what the F is this? Like, where? And they're kind of shocked. And then you continue to peruse around the house, and it's just one thing after another. And I'm just in awe, thinking, how did it get like this? How did this point? This is my house, this is my property. This is incredible. So we ended up calling the police. Yeah. Police came out, filed a report, ended up filing through the insurance. We got money for it and renovated, and all of these things ended up being profitable on that house, actually, and ended up selling it off. But that shock and awe of that house. And then unfortunately, same trip, literally the next house that we went to, there was only two houses that we were going to, by the way. Next house was a disaster as well. Just things everywhere. There was, that time was just completely trashed. It was a hoarder. And again, I'm looking around, how did this happen? No one wanted to tell me. No way. Oh man, I flew all the way out here just to see this.
They got you good. Hell yeah, that's awesome.
So
for you, man.
And,
awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. So, yeah, it felt good.
Thank you, management company.
Yeah.
And I won't say the name, but shout out to.
Yeah, let's hear that. Shout out. That was a good one. So that was my horror story. Definitely been some challenges. Definitely more bad ones than good ones.
Yeah, and that's definitely what we'll be talking about shortly on a different episode, is multiple reasons why we brought management in-house and the benefits of doing it, for sure. It's can be a night and day difference and make a huge difference on your portfolio. Yeah,
how the buildings are being run, tenant happiness, and then really just the overall performance, right?
Yeah.
You're just, and even less headaches.
Absolutely.
I mean, when things are running good and smooth, everything's a lot happier, everybody's a lot happier, and everybody more profitable.
Yeah. Are these guys doing one of your rentals?
Yeah, there they are. Hey, it's in Omaha, man. You got a long drive.
Yeah.
So what's your big takeaway from today?
I don't want to be super honest. Management companies in general can be good, can be bad. Definitely need to be asking the right questions up front. That's a huge thing that we learned, is asking the right questions. But at the same time, management companies can interview really well up front.
Yeah.
So you kind of just got to go somebody you got a good vibe with. You think they got their shit together, get them hired. But at the same time, within a few months after you've gotten them on board, don't be afraid to fire them. Which goes to a different comment. You need to manage management companies.
100%.
Less than that.
Yeah.
Both me and you learned is that especially for me in the beginning, was you bring in management, and then once you bring them in, you think you can be hands-on.
Yeah.
They'll send over a financial report every month. You can look at that, you can answer questions, but really you've got to stay on top of them more than that. You need to know what vacancies you have, what vacancies are coming up. The ones that you have, need to know, okay, what's exactly being done to these properties? What's the scope of work? How long do you think that's going to take to do? What do you guys think that's going to rent for? Okay, you say it's going to take 3 weeks. You can then rent for $900. Okay, I'm going to put that on my calendar. In 2 weeks, in a week and a half, I'm going to follow up with you guys and say, okay, where are we at on this? Is the market still the same? You still think you can get this $900? So I'm going to change my answer. And I think the biggest thing to take away from this is you need to ask the right questions, but then you need to manage the management company.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And don't be afraid to say, hey, I want 6-month inspection, or even less, quarterly inspection, whatever it is that you want to make sure that they're going in, seeing the property, getting hands on it. And it's not just them accepting a rent check and not seeing the tenant or the property for 2-3 years down the road and realize that, man, some hiccups here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it, my friend.
We did it. Hey, guys, I love you. You are special.